Ladies and gentlemen, Singapore economy has registered a surprising upswing over the last quarter, and the results are very indicative of very clear trends that are happening in the global market and the impact to Singapore. There are opportunities within these signals and signs, and let me walk through with you all these signs. And in the end, we'll also give you the recommendations of what's the action that we should take. Let's watch on, shall we? So, the economy of Singapore, surprisingly, over the last quarter, is indicative of an economy on steroids. Is going strong and is very good news for Singapore. And I think this is a very strong and good sign. But let's walk through the details, shall we? As usual, these are my disclaimers, and this is not financial advice. And let's go. So before we cover the Singapore economy, let me quickly just brief everybody of the early signs of the US stock market. The US stock market right now is looking like it is going to fall, and that's largely because of all the concerns of the tariffs. There are now currently potentially some serious exchange of fire between the big giants, especially between US and EU, US and Mexico. And this is not looking good for the outlook. But we should watch on carefully because there could be opportunities there for us. So the US stock futures fell on Sunday evening as the Wall Street braced for a turbulent week ahead. And the S&P 500 now has slide about 0.5%, and the Nasdaq has also slide roughly about the same. And we should watch this scene carefully as to could potentially be very interesting opportunity for us. So as it stands right now at video recording time, this is how it looks like for S&P 500. So could there be a firing opportunity soon? Okay. And if it does, no, I will fire, right? And I will usually inform everybody through a live stream. So remember, hit subscribe so that you not miss the opportunity of watching what I do. The Singapore economy grew by an amazing 4.3% in the second quarter of 2025, according to Ministry of Trade and Industry advanced estimate. 4.3% for a mature economy like Singapore is a phenomenal number. So MTI, however, said that there are significant uncertainty and downside risks remain in the global economy for the second half of the year. And right now, there is no clarity over the US tariff as Donald Trump continues to warn and flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. But 4.3% is an amazing number. I'll walk you through the details later. So Singapore economy grew by 4.3% in the second quarter of 2025, faster than the 4.1% in the first quarter, according to advanced estimate from MTI. And that's a very strong number. But however, the second half is projected to have some weakness, and MTI cautioned everybody on it, including all the analysts as well. So there are external headwinds expected to exert a significant pressure soon. And we can see that really potentially if Trump were to be serious about his tariffs on EU, on Mexico, and on rest of the world, I think then the so-called reciprocal tariff is going to come back in a big way. Song Seng-woo, the economic advisor at CGS International, attributed the reversal of the GDP growth to the pause on reciprocal tariff until August the 1st, which was announced at the start of April. So businesses earlier were rushing their orders in the first quarter to get ahead of the Liberation Day tariffs. And they've chosen to front load even more exports just in case the tariff was not extended. So actually, this is some part of it an abnormal growth for fear that tariff will come in. So a lot of exports and manufacturing went out to catch the deadline before the tariff comes in. So a little bit of abnormality there. Besides the front loading of exports, Singapore economy also benefited from a de-escalation between US and China trade war, falling interest rates, and a construction boom. And I'll walk you through. Now, in particular, the construction sector expanded 4.4% in the second quarter, a reversal from the 1.8% contraction in the first 3 months of the year. Just look at all the constructions happening in Singapore right now. The MRT tracks are building aggressively, regional lines, this line, that line. Everywhere I drive, I was like, where did this building come up? When does this MRT station come up? And things like that. So all these are helping to stimulate the economy. So let's walk you through all the details. Remember, the GDP is a big number. It represents gross domestic product or income of the country. But there are a lot of things that made up the income of country. And the reason for the uplift are as follow. Number one is as the economists have said, there are front loading of trade orders. Many firms have accelerated their import export activities ahead of the tariffs. Okay, and therefore this boosted many trade related sectors like wholesale trade, trading sectors, transport and storage. And that explains why there's a 2.7% quarter on quarter growth on the wholesale trade sector. So everybody was rushing to avoid the calamity that could happen on them, and that this caused a temporary spike. Will this continue? It's hard to say. Now, manufacturing recovery led by tech. I would actually say that the artificial intelligence demand is phenomenal, and Singapore is one of the hub that we manufacture all these precision semiconductors for AI boom. So AI infrastructure demand has gone up, automotive chips have gone up, there's semiconductors demand has gone up, and Singapore electronic cluster is deeply embedded into global tech supply chain, in particular for US, in between US and China. Now, I don't think they will officially say it, but I think there's a lot of gray marketing of chips that are happening between Singapore and US and China. So China has a huge demand for chips, which officially cannot come from US directly. I think there's some intermediary exports that are happening or trading happening to bridge this gap. Okay, I cannot prove it. Okay, but anecdotally, I think this has happened in a very significant way. So I think that there is actually a lot of things happening there that's to our advantage. Not to forget, a lot of manufacturing happen in a double time and speed time to also avoid some of this tariff. So this tariff fear, okay, actually play to Singapore advantage, at least in the last quarter. So now, taking all the tariff fear aside, there is strong construction boom that's happening right now in Singapore. The MRT extension is happening in a big way. The port and airport upgrades are happening in a big way. And there's a lot of data center building, green energy building, and all this caused a major uplift in the quarter. So this project provided a 4.4% quarter on quarter lift and act as a domestic stabilizer for growth. So even if everything were not to grow, but at least the construction sector helped to cushion some of this effect. So we are lucky that everything grew because of tariff fear. Fear is a powerful driver of growth, surprisingly. And on the other hand, domestic demand grow as well. Take note, in all these things, there's no mention of retail in a big way, okay? And that's where we come to the next one. So tourism and service sector also rebounded. As you can see right now, we have a lot of tourists coming into Singapore, in particular from China and ASEAN. So our F&B sector, hotel sectors, and real estate rentals are doing well. And generally, I would say that the tourism dollar, okay, are not so susceptible tariff adjustments. Even if it's a second or third bound kind of effect. So these things are happening. Everybody loves to come to Singapore right now. Singapore is a beautiful place, amazing, beautiful look as well. And the good thing is that when they come, they spend money on everything, right? Including hotels, retail, food, and everything. So all this helps to cushion. And as Singaporeans or Singapore residents, we must welcome all the visitors with a smile. And we really want to welcome them to help because they really feed our economy. Now, Singapore's supply chain is a very critical one because it helped to reroute, okay? We help to reroute items that are tariff into non-tariff environment or lesser tariff environment. And we do have a lot of free trade agreement to help to reduce some of the affected routes and things like that. So hopefully, right, we become an interchange, we become a market for trading to help to relieve some of this tariff pressure. There is a optimism in me that maybe there's some possibility that the tariff war might play to Singapore's favor. And not to forget, our banking sectors have performed incredibly well. Singtel has also performed incredibly well, and all these have lifted up the global standing of our country. So banks and insurance provider has performed steadily well, supported by loan demand from infrastructure and SME, and increased digital finance activity as well. So I think this is an area that we have done well. I think there's also possibly inflow of foreign money into Singapore, given that this is a time of turbulence, uncertainty, and fear. People like to seek safe haven status for their funds and things like that. And Singapore will be a wonderful place. So the key takeaway from all this is this: the stars are surprisingly aligned for Singapore, right? We sometimes like to say that it could be a case where we have planned it all, but it could simply be a case that we're lucky or a hybrid of both. But certainly, the stars are now aligned for Singapore. The early signs indicate that our tiny little country of Singapore might be the beneficiary of the trade war that's happening between giants. Okay, as businessmen and entrepreneurs, I would like to encourage all fellow entrepreneurs that we must take advantage of this upside while the upside is still there. Okay. Now things can turn 180 degrees suddenly and unexpectedly. Okay. And today there are rice on the table, there's food on the table. Tomorrow, all this will turn into crumbs on the floor. So that this is just an opportunity that won't last forever. I think that the markets will be volatile for the short run. Okay, stock market especially. But I do think that Trump will not go all the way out and hit the markets really hard because he has vested interest as well. So I think he will tackle again, right? Trump always chicken out, right? So I think that he's likely to chicken out again, or at least this the dada ding ding. Dada ding ding. Yesterday I talked about it during my live stream. What the hell is dada ding ding? It simply means that 打打停停，打打停停. Hit and stop, hit and stop, hit and stop. So I think that's by the way this phrase come from Mao Zedong. Okay, but I think the stock market, however down it goes, will eventually recover and the boom will happen. So these are my key takeaway. What do you think? Happy to discuss with everybody in my Telegram group or in the comments below. So do join me for a live stream tonight. I almost live stream every night right now. Hit subscribe so that you'll get a live stream notification, and I will see you tonight. Thank you and goodbye.